කෞතුකයක්වා.
Making headlines this hour, President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu re-establishes the types of economic activities permitted in the Maldives Special Economic Zones (SEZs) and the minimum investment threshold required stated under a presidential decree. Maldives national futsal team receives a warm reception on their return to the capital Mala City after its flawless SAF Futsal Championship triumph in the tournament's inaugural iteration. And the Bank of Maldives announces an increase in payment limits for goods and services purchased abroad using credit cards, with the revised limits set to take effect on 1st February.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naeem. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu re-establishes the types of economic activities permitted in the Maldives Special Economic Zones (SEZs) and the minimum investment thresholds required stated under the presidential decree.
The changes were announced through Presidential Decree No. 1/2026 as per the Special Economic Zones Act, which requires the government to annually review and publish the scope of activities allowed in SEZs following suggestions from the Board of Investments. Under the amended framework, strategic investments in SEZs must have a required minimum value of $100 million, while sustainable township development projects must consist of investments of at least $500 million. The decree specifically states that the full $500 million must be allocated directly to sustainable township development specifications. 9 categories of economic activity have been approved under the $100 million threshold. These include export-focused manufacturing, transshipment ports and international logistics services, ports, airports, bunkering and docking facilities, universities, tertiary and especially hospitals, and world-class research and development centers. The decree also allows for investments in information and communication technology parks, international financial services and trade centers, renewable energy projects, food security initiatives, and activities introducing technologies not currently available in the Maldives. Gas, oil, and mineral exploration activities are also included. Presidential Decree No. 1/2026 follows a review of the previous year's decree and has been published in the Government Gazette as required by the law. The move is part of the government's broader effort to bring forth large-scale foreign investment and position SEZs as centers for strategic and high-value economic activity.
Maldives national futsal team receives a warm reception on their return to the capital, Mala City, after its flawless SAF Futsal Championship triumph in the tournament's inaugural iteration. The SAF Futsal Championship was held for the first time in Bangkok, Thailand, organized by the South Asian Football Federation, SAF. The futsal team was received at the VIP terminal of the Velana International Airport, VIA, by the Minister of Sports, Fitness and Recreation, Abdullah Rafiu, and the President of the Football Association of Maldives, FAM, Ahmad Tariq. The families of the futsal players as well as many supporters were also in attendance. The team then took a victory tour along the Amini Magu and Majidi Magu of the capital city before stopping at the artificial beach. Many supporters gathered on the streets as the team paraded to its stop, where a special ceremony was to be held in their honor. With hundreds of citizens gathered, the ceremony involved celebratory activities including fireworks, Maldivian cultural performance and the opportunity to take photos with the futsal team and the trophy. Bank of Maldives BML Affordable Home Leasing Company Private Limited has officially commenced construction of its 5 affordable housing projects.
The launch was marked at a ceremony held in Hurumale on 27 January, signaling a major milestone in the implementation of the Maldives Monetary Authority's MMA Inclusive National Affordable Housing Scheme INAH. The ceremony was attended by the Ministry of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure, Dr. Abdullah Muttalib, BML Chairperson Ahmad Ali Habib, and BML Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director Muhammad Sharif. The completion of these projects will see the delivery of 3,260 affordable housing in Hurumala Phase 1, Phase 3 and Vilimala to be dispersed on a lease-to-own basis, playing a key role in addressing the country's housing demand. Through the commencement of these 5 projects, the BML and BML Affordable Home Leasing Company reaffirmed their commitment to supporting national housing priorities, strengthening local industry participation and expanding access to affordable home ownership in line with the MMA's vision of a more inclusive and resilient financial system. Speaking on the projects, Minister Muttalib said BML's efforts to ensure the success of the government's housing policy are exemplary. While the projects are expected to reach completion by July 2028, the minister said the project will become the first housing project to be initiated, completed and handed over within a single presidential term. The minister further said the project is an important step in seeking creative and innovative solutions to the housing crisis even in the midst of economic difficulty. According to BML's CEO Sharif, the projects are being implemented by both local and international contractors selected through a rigorous evaluation process aligned with the governance, risk and compliance standards set under INAH. The projects were awarded to local contractors Amin Construction Pvt Ltd, FW Construction Pvt Ltd and Rashid Carpentry Construction Pvt Ltd, as well as International Construction, Beijing Urban Construction Group and China Machinery Engineering Corporation. Sharif said the government's national housing affordability and accessibility policy has paved the way for supporting the construction and housing sectors in the Maldives. He said the bank has already given high priority to the housing sector, with outstanding loan disbursement to the construction and housing sector reaching $350 million by the end of last year. He noted a total of $136 million was disbursed last year alone to local companies and individuals.
The Bank of Maldives BML announces an increase in payment limits for goods and services purchased abroad using credit cards, with the revised limits set to take effect on 1st February.
BML said the changes apply to 3 categories of credit cards and represent the monthly spending limits set by the bank for each card. Classic credit card limits have been increased from $750 to $1,400. Gold credit card limits have been increased from $750 to $1,500. Platinum credit card limits have been increased from $1,500 to $3,000. The bank said these limits apply from February 1st and are in addition to customers' debit card usage limits. BML also noted that debit card limits were revised last November, increasing the maximum amount payable at overseas point-of-scale terminals to $1,000. In addition, spending limits for airline tickets, overseas debit card payments, and hotel payments have been raised to $300. This revised limit also allows debit cards to be used for hospital payments related to medical treatment up to the same amount. The bank said the adjustments to foreign currency limits were made in line with amendments introduced by the government to the Foreign Exchange Act aimed at addressing foreign currency shortages. Under the amended law, a specific percentage of foreign currency earnings from the tourism sector is required to be brought into the country and distributed among banks, easing challenges faced by banks in sourcing US dollars.
The Maldives Monetary Authority MMA reports an increase in hiring across the main sectors of the economy during the final quarter of last year.
The central bank disclosed this in its quarterly business survey report based on a survey of 113 businesses operating in 4 major industries. The surveyed businesses were selected from those reporting the highest income levels within their respective sectors. According to the report, employment increased in the tourism sector, construction sector, wholesale and retail trade, as well as transportation and communication services during the quarter. The survey showed that no sector recorded a reduction in employment based on whether businesses increased their workforce during the period. The strongest growth in employment was recorded in the tourism industry. The MMA attributed this increase to the peak tourism season, which also led to higher revenues within the sector. The employment index for tourism rose from 56 points to 57 points, while employee salary expenditure also increased during the quarter. The MMA noted the tourism remains the largest employer in the Maldives and expects the sector to maintain this position during the first quarter of this year. Employment also increased in the wholesale and retail trade sector, although overall business activity in the sector declined in the last quarter. Hiring improved, with the employment index rising from 46 points to 69 points. The survey also showed an increase in staff-related expenditure. The MMA has forecast positive business performance for the sector in the first quarter of this year. In the construction sector, which currently represents the second largest share of the economy, the employment index increased from 29 points to 36 points. While staff expenditure declined slightly, it remained stable overall. The central bank said the increase in hiring was driven by a rise in construction projects during the quarter and expects the sector to maintain this pace in the first quarter of this year. The quarterly business survey also showed no significant change in recruitment levels in the transport and communication services sector, with the employment index standing at 14 points. While job growth was limited, the MMA noted that no job losses were recorded and that expenditure per employee increased during the quarter. A positive outlook has been forecast for the sector this year. Overall, the MMA said the survey indicates growth across all industries, with businesses in multiple sectors expected to post positive results in the current quarter.
Ambulances is handed over to 27 islands as part of government efforts to expand healthcare delivery nationwide.
Maldives Ports Limited, MPL, will be delivering ambulances to 56 islands as specified by the Ministry of Health. As the initiative commenced on 19 January, MPL has stated that ambulances transported have been assigned to island hospitals. The company has assured that remaining ambulances will also be transferred soon. These efforts were brought about during President Dr. Mohamed Muiz's community outreach visits, in which he met with heads of local institutions and inquired about the difficulties faced by residents. The government has detailed that the lack of reliable and continuous emergency medical transport has become a widespread concern as of late. This project aims to resolve this issue and provide ease to patients, overall reinforcing the Maldives healthcare system. The Health Ministry has awarded this $4,224,510.36 US initiative to MPL under a contractor financing scheme. The vehicle keys have already been distributed to the 56 islands receiving ambulances. The Ministry of Health has stated, furthermore, the provision of new ambulances for an additional 31 islands, as well as 10 paramedic ambulances for the Greater Mali region, will be carried out within this year.
An agreement is signed to construct 14 private rooms which can be converted to quarantine facilities at Kurdufushi Regional Hospital in Hadalo Atoll.
The agreement was signed by the Minister of State for Health, Hadija Abdul Samad Abdullah, and Altec Maldives Private Limited's General Manager, Hussein Tasmin. With over 700 staff members, Kurdufushi Regional Hospital serves the greatest number of patients in the country outside of hospitals in the Greater Mali region. For instance, residents from Ha Alif, Ha Dalu and Shavini atolls seek treatment from this hospital. Services available at this location are being expanded by bringing in more specialists and super specialists, a step forward for the Maldives healthcare sector. The Ministry of Health has stated that the following facilities will be developed in this new building: a dialysis room, emergency room, medical store, general store, nurse station, administration room, briefing room, prayer room and break room for hospital staff. Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim has assured that accessible infrastructure for people with special needs will be established under this initiative. He stated that these rooms will be equipped with modern amenities and contain essential facilities such as bathrooms. The government has earmarked $3,430,995.81 US for this project, with the initiative funded by Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank (AIIB). The Ministry of Health has stated this project aims to provide ease to patients and remains part of the government's efforts to bring Kurdufushi Regional Hospital to a tertiary level.
The Health Protection Agency HPA urges travellers to West Bengal to exercise caution following the detection of Nipah virus cases in the region. The HPA issued the advisory in a statement after 3 cases of Nipah virus were confirmed in West Bengal earlier this month. The agency said the risk of the virus spreading to the Maldives remains low, but noted that the situation in India is being closely monitored. The HPA advised Maldivians traveling to West Bengal to remain vigilant and take necessary precautions. Several Nipah virus cases have been reported in India in January. The virus is transmitted to humans through contact with fruit bats of the Petropoulos family and pigs. Authorities in West Bengal have quarantined more than 180 individuals identified as close contacts of confirmed cases. The HPA said no Nipah virus cases or contacts have been reported from any other part of India or from any other country so far, and no cases have been detected in the Maldives. Common symptoms of Nipah virus infection include fever, headache, cough, sore throat, and difficulty breathing. In more severe cases, the infection can affect the brain, leading to confusion and seizures. The agency noted that some infected individuals may show no symptoms. While there is currently no specific treatment for Nipah virus infection, supportive care is provided to manage symptoms. The Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation says preparations are underway to launch additional RTL ferry services in February.
RTL ferry services are divided into 6 zones, with services currently operating in 4 zones. Services has yet to commence in Zone 3 and Zone 4. Zone 4 includes Memo Atoll, Fafu Atoll, Dalu Atoll, and Lamu Atoll, while Zone 3 covers Kafu Atoll, Alif Alif Atoll, Alif Dalu Atoll, and Wawu Atoll. The ministry said it is preparing to launch ferry services in another atoll next month. Work is ongoing to determine the atolls where the services will begin to finalize the operating rules for the routes. The RTL ferry service is operated by Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC. The company said construction of all ferries required to serve the remaining atolls is currently underway. MTCC said the work is progressing according to schedule and that ferry operations in the remaining atolls will commence as soon as building boats is completed. Most recently, RTL ferry services were launched in Thai Atoll, bringing the total number of atolls currently served to 12. The RTL ferry service was introduced in 2022 as part of the government's priority transport initiatives to connect the entire country through a high-speed ferry network. The service aims to provide an affordable, reliable, and efficient means of inter-island transport. During visits to the atolls in October last year, President Muhammad Muizzu said the government is working to complete the rollout of RTL ferry services across all atolls by March this year.
LVMH shares falls 7% following its fourth quarter results announcement, with the market disappointed at the luxury group's weaker margins and cautious tone on the initial signs of a recovery in demand.
LVMH, the world's biggest luxury conglomerate with brands from Louis Vuitton to Tiffany and Moët and Chandon Champagne, is a bellwether for the industry, and the move also dragged down shares in Gucci, owner Kering, Moncler and Hermes by between 2% and 5%. The French group said sales in the key Chinese market grew in the quarter, but the results were less encouraging than expected in the wake of more upbeat comments on China from Richemont and Burberry earlier this month. Analysts also said a sharp revenue decline at LVMH's wine and spirits group was a concern, even though the business accounts for only a small share of its overall sales. CEO Bernard Arnault told a press conference following the results released on Tuesday that LVMH would continue to limit its cost this year, underlining that geopolitical crises and economic uncertainty were reasons to be cautious. A combination of US tariffs, a weak dollar, and slowing demand has weighed on the group's profit margins, and finance boss Cecile Cabanis said further sales growth will be needed for margins to rebound. The last 5 years have been a bumpy ride for LVMH shares.
European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas says Europe is no longer Washington's primary center of gravity and the shift is structural, not temporary, as European leaders grapple with how to adjust to US President Donald Trump's approach to the transatlantic relationship.
Speaking at the European Defence Agency's annual conference, Kallas added that while the EU still seeks strong transatlantic ties and the United States will remain an ally, Europe must adapt to new realities and, quote, NATO needs to become more European to maintain its strength.
Arguably, the biggest change in the fundamental reorientation is going on across the Atlantic, a rethinking that has shaken the transatlantic relationship to its foundation. Let me be very clear. We want strong transatlantic ties. The US will remain Europe's partner and ally, but Europe needs to adapt to new realities.
These remarks were delivered at the European Defence Agency's annual meeting, which focused on enhancing cooperation and forging a united defence strategy for Europe's future.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney wishes good luck to members of the Women's Olympic ice hockey team as they prepared to head to Milan for the Winter Olympics in February.
Emily Clark, Brianne Jenner, and Jocelyn Larocque, who all play for Canada's capital city team, the Ottawa Charge, gifted Carney a hockey jersey with his name on the back.
I'm here with, this is doubly exciting for me, because I live in Ottawa Charge. It's here, yeah, give it up, come on, don't be neutral. And three amazing members of our Olympic hockey team. Despite how young they look, the amount of experience, the number of goals, the experience that they've had in top flight hockey, Olympic hockey, and you have all of Canada behind you as you go to Milan. The rink it's going to be ready just in time, and they won't know what hit them. So I just want to say on behalf of, if I may, on behalf of all Canadians, how proud we are that you're representing us.
The 23-player Canadian roster announced earlier this month includes 20 players from the team that finished second to the United States at the 2025 World Championships in the Czech Republic and 16 from the squad that won gold at the 2022 Olympics in Beijing. The Canadian team, which has a record 5 Olympic gold medals, opens play in Italy against Finland on February 5. The United States and Canada will play in the final round of Group A play on February 10. The gold medal game is scheduled for February 19th.
Paleontologists from Brazil's Federal University of Santa Maria discovers a 9.5 millimeter fossil skull of a previously unknown species in Rio Grande do Sul Strait.
The lizard-like specimen was named Sauropia macrorhinus and is the smallest tetrapod ever recorded in South American Triassic deposits from 240 million years ago. The tiny parareptile skull, found at the Cortado site in Novo Cabrais by paleontologist Lucio Roberto da Silva, required cleaning with needles under magnifying glasses and CT scanning to reveal its unique characteristics, including large nostrils and pin-shaped teeth likely used for eating small invertebrates. According to the researchers, the animal belonged to the rare Procolophonidia group, a group of extinct parareptiles that lived during the Permian and Triassic periods, and would have measured approximately 5 centimeters in total length, resembling a small lizard with large eyes that walked on 4 legs. The discovery could help scientists understand ancient ecosystems.
That concludes News for Now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.